So, what's the very first thing you do when you wake up? Let me guess. You grab a shiny bottle of minty mouthwash, swish it around, and feel like a peak civilized human being, right? You look in the mirror, flash that confident smile, and think you're living in the golden age of hygiene. Well, think again. If you took that self-righteous smile back to the Roman Empire 2,000 years ago, they would literally laugh at you. Why? Because to the Romans, mint flavor was for the weak. Their choice of morning mouthwash? Fresh, warm, human urine. Yeah, I'm not making this up. That yellow liquid was a literal taxed luxury item just to get a bright white smile. I can already taste the saltiness hitting your brain right now. You've got to ask yourself, what the hell was wrong with our ancestors? Welcome to the past where the absolute craziest habits were peak societal standards. I'm Smartass Curly, and today we are roasting the top 10 times humans completely lost their minds. Let's go. Number 10. Roman urine mouthwash. Let's break down the science of this urine contains ammonia NH3, which is a highly effective bleaching agent. Fun fact, it's the exact same stuff inside your modern Windex. So, they weren't crazy. They were just extremely aggressive biochemists. The hype was so real that pee imported from the Iberian Peninsula was treated like premium perfume because of its high concentration. Emperor Nero saw this and went, "Capitalism, baby!" He literally placed a tax on gathering urine from public restrooms. Absolute cash cow. So back then, flashing white teeth was basically bragging, "Look at me! I'm rich enough to afford premium imported urine." Gross. Absolutely vile. Number 9. Biphasic sleep. Moving on from the smell. Ever wake up at 2 a.m., stare at the ceiling, and hate yourself for having insomnia? Relax. You're not broken. Your medieval ancestors did this every single night, and they thought it was perfectly normal. Before light bulbs ruined our lives, humans slept in 2 shifts. First, sleep started right at sunset and lasted until about midnight. Then, the whole town would just wake up for 2 hours. They'd read books, pray, or casually walk over to their neighbor's fence for some midnight gossip. Medieval doctors even claimed this was the absolute prime time for couples to make babies, because the body was perfectly rested halfway through. Talk about multitasking. After partying for 2 hours, they went back to sleep for shift number 2. Then, the Industrial Revolution arrived and forced us into modern corporate slaving, forcing us to sleep like mindless robots. Number 8. Garden hermits. Back in the day, if you had way too much money and zero hobbies, 18th Thursday century British billionaires took the crown. Today, we buy fancy dogs for decoration, right? Well, rich British guys didn't want pets. They rented old men. I swear, the trend was literally called garden eremit. Wealthy elites wanted their backyards to look melancholic and philosophical, so they paid a guy to live inside a fake stone cave in the middle of their garden. The contract stated, "You cannot cut your hair, shave your beard, trim your nails, and you must wear rags your only job. Sit there and look deeply depressed." When guests came over, the host would show off the cave and say, "Look at how deep and spiritual my garden is." Imagine renting a grandpa just to use him as a feng shui doll. Wild. Number 7. Victorian tight lacing. If you ever come back from a buffet and complain that your jeans are a little tight, please shut up. Victorian women would call you weak. To get that hourglass waist, they went feral for corsets. They laced them so tight it literally crushed and relocated their internal organs. Survival of the prettiest. But crushing your liver wasn't enough. The real killer was the crinolina, massive hoop skirt made of steel cages. Because the skirts were so huge, women literally couldn't see where their dresses ended. They'd accidentally brush against a fireplace or a candle and be instant human torch. Thousands of women burned to death because of this. The creepiest part? They knew the risk, but refused to stop wearing them. Talk about a killer fashion sense. Number 6. Lotus feet. If you think Western fashion was toxic, ancient China takes the prize for the most brutal beauty standard in human history. Foot binding. Starting at age 4, young girls had their toe bones systematically broken, crushed downward, and wrapped tightly in bandages to stop them from growing. The goal? To force the entire foot into a 4-inch shoe. Yes, 4 inches. That is literally shorter than your iPhone. It permanently crippled them, making walking an agonizing nightmare. But here is the twisted part. Society viewed these deformed feet as the ultimate sign of royalty. It was a girl-less only golden ticket to marry rich. No broken feet? Enjoy being single forever. Proof that when a deformity becomes the norm, healthy people become the outcasts. Number 5. Ohaguro. Let's leave the broken bones behind and cross over to ancient Japan to see what they considered a perfect smile. Today, we spend thousands of dollars on teeth, whitening, veneers, and braces just to get that blinding white smile. This was called They created a deeply foul-smelling cocktail by soaking iron filings in vinegar and dark tea, then painted it directly onto their teeth. Can you imagine the taste of putting rusted liquid iron in your mouth every day? Just the thought of that metallic aftertaste makes me want to scream. Surprisingly, it wasn't just a trend. This toxic-looking sludge actually coated their teeth and protected them from cavities and bacteria. A win is a win, I guess. But let's be honest, if you saw someone with a pitch-black void smiling at you in a dark alley, you're running for your life. Number 4. Witch trials by water. Welcome to the dark ages of Europe, home to a legal system that was absolutely unmatched in its pure stupidity. Back then, if your neighbor hated you and gaslit the town into thinking you're a witch, the court didn't need fingerprints or DNA. They used water. They tied your hands and feet together and threw you straight into a raging river. And here's the peak logic that would make modern stand-up comedians cry. The judges argued, water is a pure element created by God, so it will reject evil. Therefore, if you float, boom, definitely a witch. Burner. But what if you sank directly to the bottom? Oh, praise the Lord, you are innocent. The holy water has accepted you. By the time they happily dragged you up to declare you not guilty, you had already drowned. Wait, so you die either way. A justice system that guarantees your death no matter what. Genius. Absolutely flawless logic. Number 3. Postmortem photography. Let's fast forward to the 19th century. Ever wonder why everyone looks so terrifyingly serious and dead-eyed in old black and white photos? Partly because photography was incredibly expensive and rare. Most poor families went their entire lives without a single portrait. So, when a family member, usually a child, tragically passed away, they used their one and only chance to get a family photo. Postmortem photography. They would dress up the person in their best clothes and use heavy iron stands hidden behind them to force the body to sit or stand upright to make it even wilder. The photographer would often paint fake open eyes directly onto the closed eyelids so they looked awake. Then the whole family sat down around them, smiled, and took the photo. It sounds horrifying to us, but it's actually heartbreaking. The fear of being entirely forgotten was bigger than the fear of death itself. Number 2, lard wigs. Alright, let's cheer things up by visiting the grand, majestic palace of Versailles in 18th century France. Look at the French aristocrats with their massive, towering white wigs. Stunning, right? Well, behind that luxury was a deeply smelly truth. To sculpt and hold those giant hair towers in place, they didn't have hairspray. They used animal fat, specifically lard mixed with flour. Feeling hungry yet? Animal fat inside a warm ballroom gets rancid real quick. The wig literally became a 5-star hotel for lice, bugs, and actual living rats to build nests inside. So what Patia's nobles carried a long silver rod called a wig scratcher. They would stab it deep into their hair to scratch the itch whenever the rats inside woke up. High fashion at its finest. Number 1, mummy powder medicine. And finally, our number 1 spot will make today's health supplements look like absolute child's play from the 12th to the 17th century. If you had a headache, a cold, or epilepsy, European doctors would prescribe a magical cure-all drug called mummy. What was it made of? Ancient Egyptian mummies dug up by grave robbers and crushed into a fine brown powder. Yes, they were casually drinking ground-up dead people. The demand got so high that real mummies ran out, so European merchants started taking the fresh bodies of executed criminals, drying them out, and selling them as vintage mummies. The absolute peak of medical madness, turning other people's ancestors into cannibal supplements. It makes my skin crawl. From Roman pee mouthwash to eating literal mummies, human history is just one giant series of unhinged decisions that no modern brain can comprehend. So, out of all these 10 crazy habits, which one made you gag the most? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to smash like and subscribe so you don't miss our next historical roast. As for me, I'm gonna go read the ingredient list on my mouthwash again. I'm paranoid now. See ya, brothers.